Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to the Enter the Realm Star Wars Episode 7 review special. Joining us tonight is the Jackal Squad plus a couple special guests. Going across my Google Hangouts screen, our first participant is the one, the only Bobby Skullface.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm very happy to be here. I thought I wasn't going to make it, so it's the will of the Force.
That's right.
Yep.
That's not how the Force works. Sorry, that was my one zinger for the night. Next on the screen is J-Botron, a.k.a. Jisk.
Yo, what's happening? May the Force be with you. That was lame. That was really bad. But I felt like I had to do it.
I was waiting for someone, and also with you.
Yeah.
J. Ruse, what's up?
Yo, the Force works in mysterious ways.
It certainly does. For example, Ace Milo, how are you tonight, sir?
Ew, what's up, guys? I don't have a bad Force pun, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll help you with one. I love you.
I love you too.
I know.
Oh, come on.
How do we kick somebody off the show? Look at Ace. He kind of even looks like fucking Princess Leia right now.
Princess Leia's ass.
Next up is Mr. Nathan Haskill from Cobra Records. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. That's not a moon.
There you go. And of course, the one, the only, the infamous Dust Mites in the house.
What's up, guys? My name's Dust Mites. I wore this red shirt, so you know who I am. I wore this red hat, so you would know who I am.
It's pretty clever. And I am Chris Pinkerton. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and say this 3 times. Spoilers. Spoilers.
Yes.
Spoilers. If you have not seen the movie and you watch this show, don't leave us dirty comments that we ruined it. Spoilers. Spoilers.
We're gonna make sure we put that in the title, right?
It's in the title.
It's already in the title. That's
It'll
all
be
right.
in the title. It'll be when we promote. I guess that's a good reason why we decided kind of to record it.
If you're upset with this broadcast at any means, please direct all your complaints to Bobby Skullface.
Yeah, please.
Actually, yeah, you can just leave a random comment on any of his videos.
Yes.
Because he will get back to you.
Preferably the ones that are further back.
Yeah, go back to like
The first.
Do
Just
like
start at 1.
do this, like go to the solid unit video and leave some reviews about this. All right, so let's get into it. I guess what we'll do is just kind of give everybody a moment to say their piece without being interrupted. Just your thoughts on the film. And give it a out of 5 stars. Give it a 5-star rating. Bobby, we'll let you go first.
5 stars is harder. I like to work on a 10 scale. Gives me some wiggle room.
Okay, well let's do a 10 scale then. We'll do a
Okay,
10.
sweet.
I agree with Bobby.
It's got to be 10. Yeah, so out of 10.
Or you could take your 10 and divide it by 2.
Right. So, yeah, you could do that.
Numbers though.
Like 10
so-
Wookiee toes.
So I give it a 7.5. And that's not to say that I don't love it. I do like the film a lot, but I have to say this kind of as a disclaimer. Like, I can look at it objectively and say I think it's about a 7.5 for a few issues, and I guess we'll get into those as the show kind of moves on. But I love Star Wars. Like, my firstborn is named after a Star Wars character. Like, Star Wars is my first fandom. Like, I acknowledge the issues that are with the prequels, but I still love the prequels. I'll sit here and tell you that Phantom Menace is a piece of shit all day long. Doesn't mean I don't know it word for word, just because I like being in that sandbox. So I think it's a 7.5. I think it is the next best film after the original trilogy.
Okay, Jisk.
Oh, what am I rating it out of 10?
He was all set for 5.
I know.
So just now multiply that. Multiply.
No, Ooh, J. Ruse, you there?
Uh-oh.
Look at me.
We're losing him. We're losing him.
His face looks like
the dog ate the corn.
face. But I would give it. I don't know why I don't have this. I'd give it a 7, maybe a 6. I like the movie too. I mean, I guess I have to preface that too. I like the movie a lot, but I mean, just on as far as a ranking for movie, I'll go 7. 6 is unfair, I think.
All right, J. Ruse.
I like the movie a lot. I'm gonna give it an 8, and it's because after the prequels that did not feel like Star Wars movies, this felt like a Star Wars movie. And I was happy to have a Star Wars movie back.
Ace.
I gotta say 8.5. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a great time sitting in the theater. Based on what my theory is about what's going on, I have a lot of hope for the future movies. That I really hope the theory I have is right, because it would be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to more movies, and I think that this is a good start.
All
I'm
right.
basing my number off of the future.
Nate.
I am with Bobby, and I give it a 7.5. I really, really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't in love with it, and it's not gonna be the originals. The originals are what they are. You can't hold them to that. They were, this is better than the prequels. But like Bobby said, I went and rewatched the prequels, and they're not that bad if you're into Star Wars. I mean, sure, it's about some, fucking NAFTA tree free. Like, I like Grievous. I like, Dooku. All that stuff. So though they're not that bad, but this one, like he said, I think is the best after the original. And I saw it twice and liked it better the second time than the first time. So that's got to say something.
All right, Dust. I'm gonna let you go last. So I'm gonna go next.
Outer alert.
I'm gonna say I give it a solid 8. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I saw it in the theater twice, and I've seen it in other manners a couple times also. So I've probably seen it a total of 4 times. I enjoy the hell out of the movie, and honestly, I'm a big Star Wars fan. You kind of tuck it in for a little while. It seems when there's nothing coming out, but yeah, I'm excited for it for sure.
Well, I guess I'm on the opposite side of the coin. I think I'm the only one in here that didn't like it.
So what do you give it, Dust?
I've seen it I've fairly watched it about 5 times. I really did take my time, and I tried to. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it now a little bit more than I did when I first saw it. I would say maybe a 5, to be fair. And that's just me, just my personal experience with it. Especially the first night, I didn't like it at all. I was horrified by it. I didn't like it one bit.
Horrified.
Horrified.
Wow.
I went with Rolling Steel, and it was to the point where it was just. I started counting how many times I wanted to get up, and it was about 27. And I'm dead serious, and it's not me being, a pain in the ass or wanting to hate the world. It wasn't the Star Wars movie that I was expecting. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and some of the things that I was thinking about, maybe it wasn't the Star Wars movie for me. You know what I mean? It's for a different generation. That's the only other thing I could think of. It just didn't do it for me. It really didn't.
I just want to point out too that that's every 4.5 minutes you were like, "Fuck this movie."
I mean,
that math works out.
I mean, I do have certain things that I didn't like. The comedy seemed a little too forced. It was too much. Marvel movies, you do get that a little bit, but that's a Marvel movie, and you did have comedy back in the day in Star Wars movies, but it wasn't as forced to say,
Oh, I see what you
Do you think that it's forced, or do you think that's just the way that's movie making today? Or
Exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah, right.
That's what made me kind of think like maybe this wasn't for me. This isn't for my generation. For me, what I want to see. And
Can I ask you?
yeah, sure.
To give me some examples of the comedy bits, because I agree that I think there's some forced comedy bits as well. I'm just trying to see if we're on the same page in regard to that.
I was gonna start it off by who starts out here first? Who talks first?
Okay, I got an explanation for that.
I do too, but go ahead, Bobby.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because that bothered the shit out of me. I was like, this dude is the most badass motherfucker in the universe, and you're gonna talk to him like he's an asshole? Like, who do you think you are? Like, I didn't believe that world. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
It instantly took me out of the movie. Now I'm gonna break it down for you. Poe is the rebel. Poe is the child of 2 rebel pilots that fought at the moon of Endor. So he grew up in that culture. So he probably grew up with Ben and knows he's just a bratty dickhead. So like when he sees him, he's not scared. He's like, fuck, dude, like, you can put on as many masks as you need. I know you're an asshole.
Okay, so you're saying, like, he already knows, and, you know, they may have grown up together, and...
Exactly.
I gotcha. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, yeah, that makes a little sense.
Now, Bobby, was that something that was in the novelization, or
in
that where his parents were?
It's in the comics. The Marvel
comics,
comics.
Okay.
Going deep.
Yeah, he said, apparently Isaac Hayes. No, that's not a guy. Isaac Hayes.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. He said that he thought it would be cool if he came from like a Yavin lineage. So like the guy who was writing the Marvel books like took that and then added it to the pilots that were fighting at Endor and like made a whole kind of thing out of it. You like meet his parents or whatever. You don't really deal too much with him, but you get to know his parents. It takes place. I think it's. I don't want to misquote. It's the comic that's like right after that battle of Endor. But yeah, see, to me, like the Finn comedy is what irritated me.
I was gonna get to that too, and
I agree.
And it wasn't so much the comedy itself; it was more so like the word choices. Like the word choices just seemed a little too real world for me. Like it didn't seem like a galaxy far, far away. Like I'm in charge now. I'm in charge now. Like I feel like I could hear a guy down the street say that.
well,
Right.
Here's another thing. If he's supposed to be taken from birth, and he's supposed to be a soldier and conditioned to be a soldier, and where the hell is this coming from?
Yeah, he wouldn't really have like a.
He wouldn't have that outlet.
Personality. Right.
I agree.
Unless he's hiding, you know, he's on the internet, you know.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the dialogue issues, to me, it's the pacing. It's the way. Yeah. I'm with the resistance. I'm with the resistance. The way he did that whole bit.
Yeah.
You know, but the same thing. Something I enjoyed is the way Kylo talks. It's not put him on the ship. It's put him on the ship. You know, it's like somebody that's directing people around. Like when you're at work and you have people subordinates, you're not like take out the trash. It's take out the trash. You know.
I actually when I saw it, I just saw it today, like a few minutes ago. I just came out of it
for the first time.
for the second time.
Oh.
His synthesized voice was really good,
Yeah, I agree.
and it was really natural. I really liked his synthesized voice.
It's my favorite one since Bane.
Mine too.
People of Gotham.
But just going back to the dialogue real fast, especially just about Finn. But I find this even in like I mentioned it the other day about Marvel movies. But why are movie makers, especially with dealing with like these comic book movies and even now so with Star Wars, afraid to let it be, like I said before, fantastical? Like it's okay if it's out of the realm of this world. And I feel like they have to try and make it like a hyper reality, like, oh, that could happen today. Not just in Star Wars,
I'll tell you why, because they're pandering to kids.
Yeah.
And the kids are on social media. They don't have the same imagination that we have. They don't go outside and play with sticks and pretend they're swords because they go on Instagram and see real world. Like it's just different. They're pandering to children.
It's sort of like what I said. It's a Star Wars for a new generation.
Well, see, I agree that it's a Star Wars for a new generation, and I disagree because I feel like there's an awful lot of fanfare. You know what I mean? Like another one of my complaints is that there's too much fanfare.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, like I see what you're saying, but I think that this Star Wars being made for this modern day audience is much more evident in the pacing of the movie. Like this movie moves fast as shit.
It does. It doesn't seem like as long of a movie.
That's why they made that. That's why they made that little BB the fucking ball, so he can roll around fast.
Dude, now that ball is fucking awesome.
I fucking love
Like
BB.
that is how you do Star Wars humor. Like that's how you do cute and funny in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't yuck.
Yeah, exactly.
There wasn't any yuck with that.
Exactly.
And here's a quick question I have that kind of. Does everybody in this galaxy just understand droid? Is that the deal?
Well,
I think it's just most people.
You know what I mean? It just like it just was just wild to me that just how are people born with you just learn fucking droid just at any time
and also whatever language that the Wookiees speak.
Wookiee.
Well, wait a minute now. There's very few people that understand Wookiee language.
Yoda does.
Yoda does.
No, hang on. Didn't one of the new characters understand it? Didn't
Ray
Ray does.
Yeah.
Goddamn right, Ray does.
And
she grew up around one.
Oh, right, sure, yeah.
We're gonna get to that. Yep, I'm sure.
There was a
But,
Wookiee that lived in that.
she seems to
had it with her.
understand. She seems to understand everything. She understands
Well, so that
technology,
Well,
droids.
she
like, all that
understands
shit.
she understands droids because she grew up around them too, and then she understands the people on the planet that she's been spending time on for fucking 10 years
Yeah.
or whatever.
But Finn is just talking to BB-8 like, "Come on, bro, like help me out here." And it's, listen, I live in Los Angeles, which might as well be Mexico, and I have a hard enough time with Spanish. People on other planets are just knowing droid, and I don't know.
Yeah,
but you
but
can look at
Finn,
Finn.
It doesn't bother me.
You could
Right.
look at Finn being a stormtrooper that he would have got some. I mean, you could chalk that up to him having some kind of training. Just
Yeah, I
as a
guess you're right.
stormtrooper.
Yeah, in the maintenance department on the.
yeah.
Now,
The, I'm sorry. I just wanted
No.
to finish off that pacing
Annotation.
that pacing point. Like I think that's made for this present day generation that has a very very limited attention span. That can't sit down and watch a movie, that has to watch a 3-minute
So I think
YouTube
we
video.
want to get more movies out of it.
And I think that the only thing that really suffers in this movie as a result of it is two things. One, we don't understand the political climate. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really understand what's going on between the Republic, or the Republic, the Resistance, and the First Order.
Yep.
And that's because they don't take the time to show you that, because they're just trying to move to sequence to sequence to sequence. And the other problem is, like, I don't know how you guys feel, but like I kind of feel like I love John Williams. I love John Williams, but I kind of feel like this is a weaker John Williams soundtrack.
Dude, I'll tell you that song when she's sliding down the sand dune.
Yes,
That
now
fucking
that
haunts
is
me, man. That fucking haunts me.
that shit is awesome. But I was just getting ready to get to that. That shit, and then the scene where she's climbing up the rocks at the end. And the reason why those two scores work is because that's the only two moments in that fucking movie where it just lets you breathe. And it let John Williams just do what he does. Everything else is moving so rapidly that it doesn't give you a chance to soak anything in. There's no moment of like Luke just looking at the two suns. Like that shit doesn't happen in this film.
I'm surprised it didn't. Everything else did.
and I don't think you're gonna get that though, even with the next one.
Dustin's so angry.
So
I'm not angry.
So guys, let's try to get a little bit into the movie. So obviously the first scene is the landing on Jakku, and Poe with this gentleman who they never tell us who he is. Who has some theories on who this guy is, or
Well,
who is?
I'm gonna say I noticed something the second time. I don't know who he is, but when he was talking to Poe, Poe said the general's been looking for him for a long time, and he says, to me, she's not a general. She'll always be royalty.
Yeah.
There
Oh,
was
yeah, so
something. There was something there.
He definitely goes back.
He knows her personally. Alderaan.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Jay, spit it out.
Well,
You don't say.
we should all understand droid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you still don't understand droid?
If we understood droid, we would have understood everything J. Rue said. But
So where did I stop? Because it's my
Alderaan was the last thing I heard.
I think that was about it. He knows her from the past, from when she was Princess Leia. You know.
Right, definitely.
I mean, but so what is that? I mean, so I understand that, and I got that as well. But why? So what? I mean, why would that be important?
Well,
Maybe it's a hint.
He also knows Ben, because she says you've gotten old, or whatever he says to him, and he says something much far worse has happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know that who he was, they were dropping so many hints that if you had any type of brain or a fan of Star Wars, you would have picked up right away who this guy was.
Yeah. So I ordered it on Amazon, the visual dictionary for the episode 7, and there is a page describing that gentleman in it. I glanced at it at the bookstore. I didn't read the whole thing, but they do tell you a little bit of backstory of it.
Yeah, he's been around since like forever. He's seen like the rise of the Empire, the fall of the Empire, and he's like a priest or pastor in this thing called the Church of the Force, which came about after the Battle of Endor. He's not Force sensitive. He can't use the Force, but he believes in the Force, and wants like the Jedi to be around. Like he believes in the Jedi. He like believes in the Jedi code, and that's why he's obsessed with bringing Luke back. That's why he says this is going to begin to make things right, because for him the idea of Luke and the Jedi not having a presence in the world as dark as it seems to becoming is a real issue for him. And he's worked for Leia. He was actually sought out by the Resistance.
Are you reading directly from the book?
No. I'm just like I'm obsessed with this shit. Like I am all the way in. So like I've been doing my research. But anyway, so like he's obsessed with the Force. He's like a religious cult leader kind of these people that worship Force users and the Force.
So is that what that colony then is technically supposed to be then? Just like a religious Force colony?
No, I think that he's hiding out there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I got from that too.
But I don't know. Now I know that I think that he's in some books too. Like they're really trying to reestablish this new EU.
Yeah.
And it's a bit hard for me to sink my teeth into because I'm like a big fan of the old EU, and it's just hard for me to wipe all that away. Like
yeah, I was just gonna say that. How do you wipe all that past?
Yeah, it's so much a part of my life, and like, I mean, I've been into the EU since the EU started when I was like, I couldn't legally drive. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hard to like just forget all that. So I've had the books, I just haven't read them.
So Rey, I mean, we'll get right to the meat of it here. Is she somebody's kid from the past, or is she just a new Force sensitive?
Before we get into this, we need to set a little bit of groundwork.
Here we go.
None of us know.
You're correct.
None of us know.
Right.
The only thing we know is that we don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we can give our speculation. But I've gotten into arguments recently with people, or I've watched from afar because people are under the impression that they know, and I feel like everyone needs to realize they don't know.
Yeah, I think it would be too obvious.
Well,
I want to hear Ace. I've been waiting days for Ace's theory.
Ace, all right, Ace, lay it on us.
All right. I didn't come up with this theory. I read about it, I heard about it. But it makes the most sense, and it's by far the most interesting. So the theory I heard is that Rey is a clone of Luke. And the way they got the DNA is from the hand that lost on Bespin in Cloud City.
Oh, wow.
So this goes a little deep. So somehow the New Order or somebody found the hand with the lightsaber. So that explains how Maz got the lightsaber. It could have been smuggled out, whatever, because they only want the hand. So the reason why they want the hand is to make an army of clone stormtroopers of Luke Skywalker with the Force.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
That's a good story.
And yeah, honestly, that's something I think about. I'm like, I hope
That's top.
I hope they would go something that.
So if you think about it, there's a part where I think it was Ren said something about we can go back to clones, which I think everybody blew off as, oh, they're talking about the Jango Fett clones. That could have been a reference to the Luke clones.
Yeah, there could have been something that we haven't seen yet. That's an interesting theory. I hadn't heard that one.
And I respect your theory, and I think that it's, and I think that it is plausible.
Cool.
They're all plausible. Every theory is
Exactly.
plausible.
Exactly. But
I want my theory to be true because it sounds the most fun.
It sounds the most fun to you. And but like here's the thing. I think that clone statement was made for one reason and one reason only, and that's
shot at the other ones.
And that's honestly, I don't think so. I think it was purely to say, this is why this stormtrooper is black and not a New Zealander or whatever that other guy was. Like I think it was purely a plot, like a plot device to explain why he doesn't look like Jango Fett.
Well, I don't think the troopers they have now are the clones. I think they're
not.
They're obviously not.
No, they were stolen from their families as children.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's why that statement was made, so that he could explain that they were stolen from children. Because without him explaining that, we don't know how Finn is there. And when all that racist shit started hitting, and to be honest, it wasn't that much. Our media makes it seem like it was a lot more than it was. But when those few fucking idiots made super stupid, ridiculous, racist comments about why is there a black stormtrooper, I think that is the explanation of that for those idiots.
Yep. I can see that.
But the whole Maz with the lightsaber thing, like I got nothing. I got nothing.
It was
You know what I mean?
because of the Force. The Force put
I think somebody smuggled it out and somehow she got it, and they'll explain that in a movie somehow. I think
So-
But
I
I'm
think
just
Rey
saying-
was somehow smuggled out because maybe she was special. She had more force, than the other clones. Something, I'm sure they would find a way to explain that out. But
I'm
that's
just
why they
saying
smuggled her out.
to debate it. I got nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
Let me ask you this question: are you guys afraid that because that theory that you just said, Ace, would make these movies awesome just because they took it so
far.
So
They thought about it. That's another reason why I want it to be real, because it thinks so far ahead. It's not just like flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, but you don't think it's too complex?
It's way too
It
complex.
is complex.
I mean, if you
absolutely.
look at this movie and think that's what they're going to do in the next one, that's insane.
That's my concern with the next one, is because this one was so similar to A New Hope. Not that they're going to do that with the next two, but I just feel like that's going too far. Like, I feel like it's going to be way more simple than you want it to be. That's my concern, just based on the way this story
Totally
was told.
dumb.
I'm letting it through my head.
Yeah.
I want it to be real. I'm trying to use the force to will it to be
The
real.
only thing we've been told about the next two movies is that episode 8 is going to be quote unquote weird.
What the fuck? That could mean.
That could mean a lot of things. I mean, you could say that.
J.J. Abrams said he liked the script so much he was upset he wasn't directing it.
Right. I mean, if you really think about it, Empire Strikes Back was kind of weird.
That's my favorite one.
Oh, it's my favorite
Absolutely.
Star Wars.
I think that's everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
one.
for real.
Weird, though.
it is the movie that defines what Star Wars is. Like, if you take that movie out, like that shit doesn't exist the same way. Like, it defines what the Force is. It defines Luke's relationship to Vader. It defines Han's relationship to Leia. It's fucking pivotal. It's the foundation of all that shit.
Well, it explained a lot, and let's hope the next one will be the same in that sense, where it will open up the doors and explain a lot to us,
Yep, it explains the inside of a Tauntaun. Looks like Boudin. Shout out to Primal Sabbath.
And it smells bad.
Yes, and it smells probably like Boudin.
Better on the outside.
Yes.
So I agree with most people that it's going to be simple. I think she's going to be a Skywalker or she's going to be a Solo.
I'm a fan of the Kenobi theory.
Yes, me too.
That good old Ben, as he was called, got a little too liquored up one night on his home brew and went to the hive of villainy and found him a piece of strange, and lo and behold, here we are. Now, there's right before they destroyed canon. I don't know if you guys read the novels at all, but the book Kenobi is phenomenal, and in that book he gets real close.
I think that if she is a Kenobi, she is also a Skywalker.
I could see them playing the
I don't think it's possible for this kid not to be a Skywalker. Like, if she is a Kenobi, which I admit is a super plausible possibility. Kenobi had a daughter. The daughter married Luke. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's got to tie back.
I just see it.
There's no way. Real quick, I'm sorry, but like,
Oh, you're right.
Kathy Kennedy said, the saga films will follow the Skywalker family. That's what's going to separate them from the anthology films. So the Skywalker line has to continue. So she's a Skywalker, or Kylo gets redeemed.
And
Well, and that's what
I
was
definitely agree with that.
based on the themes of the movie of the first three, and then seeing, all right, so now you have a repeating where, so you had dad was evil, son was good, and it's kind of still repeating in that same manner. You would have to have another relative. You're going to have so Kylo Ren's the bad guy. You're going to have another relative that would be a good guy if it's going to keep in that same theme. Do you see, does that make sense? I didn't explain it very well, but I don't know if it makes sense to.
I agree.
I could see them play off the twin thing.
I think that's what I think they're.
And that's what I thought. Like, I remember, when I was a kid, one of like my brother or something read this book, but basically the premise of the book was that like Luke was the new Vader, and Han and Leia had twins, and it was their job to defeat Luke, essentially, if I remember correctly. So that's why I always thought that Kylo and Rey were going to be brother and sister.
I think that like in the EU, like in the proper EU, Han and Leia had 3 kids. They had Jaina and Jason, which were twins, and then they had Anakin. And Anakin was killed. Jason like eventually turned to the dark side for like positive reasons, and then Jaina killed Jason. And
Okay.
that's how the solo line goes.
Yeah,
So let's go down this road just for a minute. Oh, go ahead, Dust.
No, I was going to say if they're going to follow that, it would be too obvious also because they said they're totally wiping the slate clean.
Well, I was
Well,
doesn't mean
no,
they can't
yes and
use
no.
it.
Yes and
It
no.
doesn't mean they can't use it, you know?
Yeah, what they said was the old EU is now referred to as legends, and the legends exist within the Star Wars universe, but it's like a legend, right? Like you tell this story, and then a game of telephone.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
From the mouth.
Exactly. So the book that you're reading that's quote unquote a legend has been told so many times that it's probably completely inaccurate.
Let's go down the route that Rey is Kylo's sister, just for example. Why do you think that there was no, like, wouldn't Han know? Wouldn't Leia? They would have some kind of reaction?
Allow me.
Well, yeah.
All right,
I heard this on the Nerd Rage show. Go ahead.
So, what I think is that when Rey has the flashback, right? Now, I'm going to play it from all angles. So, presumably, some of what she's seeing is her visions. Like, within that, she sees her younger self, screaming, "Don't leave me," or whatever, to the flying off ship. She sees herself fighting with Kylo in the snow forest and all that shit. And then some of it is not her, because she's also in the hallway at Bespin when Vader and Luke are fighting. Now, one of the scenes that we don't know if it's her or if she's seeing through someone else is at presumably Luke's school. And she's on the ground and she looks up and there's this guy with like this weapon that's getting ready to hit her. And as he's getting ready to hit her, Kylo stabs that guy in the back. Then she looks at Kylo and Kylo walks towards her, and then it cuts to her being left on the desert planet.
You talking about the dude with the crazy hat?
Yeah, the dude with the crazy hat.
Raiden, yeah.
Yep, and he's credited in the film as like Master of Ren or Master of the Ren or some such shit. I think that he was like the head of Ren until Kylo killed him and took that spot. And and then we cut to her being left as a kid. What I think is Kylo couldn't kill his sister.
So he hit her?
Protected her, and
So
then
he hit her. Yeah.
And then hit her. And
why
hit
wouldn't-
hit her and the Falcon at the same time.
Why wouldn't Han and Leia know that that's their kid?
Because they think she's dead. Because every other Jedi was killed during that massacre.
I think Leia wouldn't know because she has the Force.
Well, the first time Leia and her see each other, they hug for an awkwardly long time.
Do you think, that, based on the movie and how, and I don't need to keep tying it back to this, but obviously everybody agrees that it was a real close replica to A New Hope, correct?
Oh,
Correct.
yeah. It was
Okay.
a carbon copy.
It wasn't a carbon copy.
Carbon copy.
It mirrored
Not a
it.
carbon copy.
Come on, a droid on a sand planet with a piece of a puzzle finds a kid. They go on an adventure.
I didn't say it wasn't similar.
Okay,
All right,
okay.
So, well, hold on. All right, so based on that,
It's a little more than that, Dust, but
That's what I'm saying. It's not a carbon copy. It definitely has some repeating themes and shit going on. And like the Star Killer base is way too close for my taste. But
right. So
But-
based on
Yeah,
that,
don't forget, there's a cantina.
real quick, on the Starkiller base, how do you go from blowing up the second Death Star and crippling the Empire to all of a sudden you just let them just chill out in space and build this other fucking big giant?
I got something about that.
There's stuff in the novel about that.
And
Well,
who
but I'll
pays-
just
who
say-
pays
Like,
for that?
how did they let that happen?
Do they have a Do they have a Patriarch account? Is that how they paid for that?
Patreon.
But here's what I think about that.
It was a
They're like, hey, you know,
it was a
we built
GoFundMe.
Death Star, so just let them go and do their thing. Oh shit! By the way, they just built a big giant thing again.
We're starting a GoFundMe for a Starkiller base.
But
the rebels aren't as big as we think they are. There's not that many of them, and there's a lot more of the First Order than we
The
know.
resistance, not the
Resistance,
rebels.
whatever.
but go ahead, Jisk, with what you were saying, because I cut you off.
Oh, about. Well, let me just say real fast about them building. You got to think. I've never read any of the books, so I don't know the story. But just based on the movie, like the galaxy is so huge, they can't even find Luke. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that they could just be building a base. How many fucking planets are out there? You're not going to search every. You know what I mean? So that's a possibility. That's how I look at that.
I would think you would keep an eye on the guys that just built Death Star.
That's a fair point too. just keep one. Hey,
Kenobi and Sons construction or something.
And the original people who built that Death Star were fucking Wookiees, weren't they? The Wookiees who built the Death Star as slaves.
They did?
And they were, according to novels, well, original
Kevin Smith said
legend.
it was independent contractors.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was saying, so if like Bobby, you were saying that Rey and Leia hug for a really long time, but based on how the pace of the movie, it was a copy, for lack of a better word, of The New Hope. Do you really think that they put that in there? Like, was that intentional, or are you maybe reading too much into it? And I could be wrong. I'm just curious.
Well, no. So could I. Don't get me wrong. But like the thing is that for a movie that moves very quickly, that's a mighty long hug.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
And like I think that when people look back, I think that in this movie it's something where people look back. Like Han Solo wants to give this girl a job after like 5 minutes of being with her. Chewie likes her. Chewie's gonna be her co-pilot.
Well, that's why I think she's the clone still, because she would still feel like Luke.
Why would Han want? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. She's a clone. But hear me out. Like, because in his head, this is about what my daughter would be had she survived.
Right.
She'd be about this age. Like, I think that she is filling that void.
There's some emotional attachment.
Exactly, and I think that when there's a scene where Finn does one of his Finn things where he's tilting his head. What is this? What is this? Why are you doing this? What is this all about? What is this? What is this?
Boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
No, not that bit. But like,
I fucking love that line. I thought that was funny.
When he turned, then he finally turns around and sees that Rey's climbing up that wall, and like the next time you look at that fucking movie, just look at the expression on Han's face. And Harrison Ford is returning in the next movie for flashback scenes. Why the fuck would you bring him back?
That's true. How do you know he's not just going to be a ghost talking with Rey since she's Force sensitive?
If he comes back as a Force ghost, I'm walking out.
That's not how. Number 29.
He comes back as a Force ghost and then gets frozen in carbonite just to piss dust off.
Yeah, they freeze his Force ghost. Egon jumps out and captures his Force ghost and freezes it.
I really missed it in this movie. I missed about the others was the whole
Jar Jar?
Yeah, the Jar Jar. No, it was the whole explaining of the governments and how this came about and where did this go. There was nothing like that.
And to build on what you're saying, Dust, another thing based, on this normal structure is, like the planet where they went and saw Maz, they don't tell us what planet that is. They don't tell us any of the names of the planets. How many planets can you name from any of this? You got, you could name 2 handfuls of planets. They don't name any of the planets other than Jakku.
Why do we have to go back to Jakku?
Well, they did talk about the system where the government was. They called it like the Hadian system or something.
Yeah, but they named the system.
You don't really get it. Is who's in power? Who's this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you don't really know.
There's a scene that they cut, and this is what I'm talking about with the pacing. There was a scene that they cut where Leia is talking, like, when they show that one planet, the planet that everybody's like, is it Coruscant? Is it not Coruscant? Like that planet.
Yeah, the one they blow up.
Yeah, it's not Coruscant, but there's a scene where there's one black chick. She walks towards the balcony right before it blows up, and she looks up in the sky, and like I remember seeing it for the first time, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck she is, but I know she's fucking somebody. And like,
Lando Calrissian.
Hey, there's a scene. There's a scene that they cut out that took place before that, where Leia and her have a conversation, and in that conversation, it explained the political climate. It explained why she was there and Leia wasn't. It explained that the Resistance, what the Resistance is, right, is like the First Order and the Alliance, the New Republic or whatever, the New Republic have like a peace treaty of sorts. and the Republic is secretly funding the Resistance to fuck with the First Order. It's a very cool idea, and it's something that we see in, like today all the fucking time.
It sounds like the American government.
Exactly, among others. But yes, and like that would have been cool, but they cut the scene out, and I'm guessing they cut the scene out for two reasons: attention spans, and so that when you see Leia for the first time, it's more of a big deal as opposed to this random conversation with someone you don't know.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But I think that's a scene that film desperately needs.
Yeah.
Because everybody was confused. Nobody even the amount of people that were walking out of the theater so is that Coruscant?
Yeah.
Like and I get that question. It took me. I had to figure it out. I had to look it up. No, it's not Coruscant.
You go back to Jedi and like, didn't they win? I know they won the battle, and maybe they didn't win the war, or are they still in power?
And they're moving. They move the Senate from system to system on a rotation so that nobody feels left out. So the Senate feels like it does equally represent everyone all the time. That's another cool idea. Would have loved to have seen it in the film and not had to read about it.
Yeah. I feel going forward they're not going to really get that deep into detail. Like even the prequels was very deep into that, which I enjoyed a lot of.
I did too. I think the political shit in the prequels is the saving grace of the prequels.
It's like that balance for you. You know, you could do it out. You could say, okay, I could deal with this stuff because I want to see this.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see how that's going to come out.
Fast forward through the pod racing. And
you gotta skip chapters
but
through
then
that.
again, man, you know, this whole movie was just Disneyfied, and it was just the ka-ching, 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 man. Everything about it was ka-ching.
But maybe I also look at it too, and I'm hoping this is the case, is that maybe this is just a movie you kind of had to bang it out to get it out of the way so you could tell this broader story. It kind of has a feel a little bit like that.
I agree with you, but I think because it was that tool, it should have done, and this is why it's 7.5 for me, because it is that tool, and I agree with you 100%, it should have done a better job of explaining what the fuck universe you're in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who are the First Order? Are they the Empire? Are they not the Empire? You know, are they Sith Lords? Are they not Sith Lords? Is it Coruscant? Is it not Coruscant? Like, it should have explained that.
Yeah. And that's what I guess my concern is for the next ones, is that did this just come down to editing, and this is just what the movie they had to tell based on, you know, higher powers, or is this how it was written? And if this is how it was written, then the next ones are going to be shitty.
Well, they just teased everything throughout the entire movie. They said something about the First Order being the dark side. You know, they just teased everything. They teased about Rey being a Skywalker when Maz was talking about the lightsaber being Luke's and his father's before him, and it's calling to you now. You know, they're teasing everything, and I think they're just trying to attract viewers to the next movie, so that you can get every.
And not only that, but also so that this conversation takes place.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about Maz for a minute. She has the most badass place yeah, exactly, eyes. She has the most, like, feared little bar in the galaxy. It's the toughest place, and this fucking thing's just hanging out in her basement, no security, anybody can just fucking walk up and just rummage through her shit.
Everybody's scared of her.
Would you want to rummage through her stuff?
Seem that badass to me. I'll rummage through her shit.
You know the expression, like, there's no honor among thieves? Like, it's not really accurate.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of times, like a lot of these people that were in there were like pirates and such. Like a lot of times there is a code of sorts. Like the mafia, for instance. You know what I mean? Like there's a code. It's loose. You know, I don't want any mafia guys to be like, don't fuck with my code. Like the two mafia guys listen to Roman Collectors and they're like, you hear that fucking asshole talking about our code?
No, Ace works in the business, so he might know.
Oh yeah, he's on Staten Island, isn't he?
Yeah, he might know some people.
Let's worry about his lineage. Fuck Ray. But I think that like there is honor amongst thieves. Like I think that if this was like a safe haven for pirates to like kind of hang out, that they probably wouldn't steal from the mouth that kind of feeds them in a way.
They would
like,
almost fuck up that opportunity.
For 1,000 years. He said she was there for 1,000 years, and all of a sudden that shit is blown up.
Yeah, it's gone. One swoop. Gone.
Yep.
Tragic.
I don't give a fuck.
And Nate, you were trying to harp in there for a second before?
It was just gonna be a joke about how she couldn't book Sly Rebo in the fucking. on there a bit. Bar can't be that fucking good if you're not booking Sly Rebo.
Good point.
Ni Sakayama.
You know what's funny is my wife doesn't give a shit. Well, she kind of likes Star Wars now because she's seen it enough times. But like, after we watched like the trilogy for the first time, 'cause she didn't see it growing up. She would ask like, what's his name as we were going through it, and at the end of watching fucking Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, like 2 of the best films possibly made of our generation. I was like, what do you think? And she was like, I like Max Rebo.
I'm sorry, it is Max Rebo. I'm thinking of Sly Snoodles.
Yeah, Sly Snoodles was. I thought you were combining.
I was. You know what? Let's just say I was.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, like, I don't know, and that's another thing. Like, if I'm gonna be critical, like I know that they wanted to make a big deal about their practical effects, and this is practical effects, and don't worry about the digital characters because this is practical effects. I felt like some of the characters in that bar could have stood a little bit of digital use.
I wanted to bring that up. It kind of looked like you had a Rainforest Cafe a couple of times.
Yeah, like the little mosquito creatures. I was like, what's going on with these guys? Get them out of here.
Oh, there was a lot of that walking creature that little guy was riding when he captured BB.
Yeah.
I was thinking
what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it just didn't. Funny. Especially being so many years later on, it's like, really, this is as far as we've gotten.
Oh, and they may have made it a little campy on purpose.
I feel like they're just trying to capture that spirit
that
of like
magic.
the original.
And Bobby, you will buy every single one of those damn background characters.
What about that one robot with the microphone for a face?
Oh,
that was awesome. I ratted him out.
Yeah. He was working out. That was another thing that was cut. There was another thing that they established that they shot was that the Republic and the Resistance had a network of droids, and they were like all over the galaxy, and they relayed information to one another to keep constant vigilance of the galaxy, and that's why that droid tells the Resistance that BB-8 is there. Like, that's another thing that.
But there wasn't one on that big planet that they were making.
No, I mean, well, not. I guess like on like the planets that were super desolated, like snow planets and desert planets, they were like, let's not put them there.
Because there was that chick also that was hugging on the Tusk guy. She ratted them out too.
Yeah, she ratted them out.
Yeah,
she really ratted them out. I want to know. I want to know a little bit more what's going on with her. I mean, what's your story?
How you doing?
She'll definitely be in the expanded universe.
At least she didn't have a penis for a nose.
She ignited my lightsaber.
So let's move on to lightsabers. Now I have a somewhat of a thought about this. So Kylo has a lightsaber, but has Kylo ever? Everybody's big gripe is how can Finn hang with him in a lightsaber battle, not being a Force sensitive, and how can Rey even as a Force sensitive?
But you don't know that he's not Force sensitive.
I got the answer
things about this too.
Okay, you're about this too. Well, hang on. Let me say my piece. My piece is I think he has never used that lightsaber for anything other than intimidation and straight up homicide.
And breaking chairs.
You could tell his training's not done because he can't control his emotions.
And temper tantrums.
Well, and they
he
say
can't
that
control his emotions.
And Snoke says his training's not done. But Bobby, I want you to go last on this only because I think you've got a lot of. I think you're just real knowledgeable on it, and I think once you give
the Force is strong with this one.
Once you give an answer, it's kind of like, all right, that's true, and then
No.
I just think that's why people are like, well, I can't believe that they were hanging with him. It's because all he does is slash shit up and kill people and hold it over people's faces.
Well, there's a
He
couple
also got shot right before that too.
Yeah, by fucking Chewie's little bowcast.
Yes,
I love this thing.
But,
I'm gonna get a piece of wood to bite down on. Just let me know when it's my turn. I'm dying over here.
I definitely agree. He was fucking hurt by that
He was
bowcaster.
punching himself to try to repeat the pain.
He's got to be a beast to be able to take that fucking bowcaster shot to begin with. So he was definitely fucking hurt.
And Finn's been trained since a child. He's trained he's a fucking stormtrooper, so he's been trained since a kid for combat.
And then Snooki did say his training wasn't complete.
Snooki.
So
Plus, he was pissed off, so he probably wasn't in the right mindset to fight.
No, he's a dark side user. The anger makes him stronger.
And the Force balances out, right? Isn't there's a balance to the Force too?
The Force.
Right. So if Kylo Ren's the badass dark side and Rey's ultra Force sensitive, and if she's going to be the hero, she would be pretty powerful and just not know how to tap into it unless maybe fear or her emotions get strong. So it's a possibility that she's going to be real dope, and then she could hold her own against the dude.
I think she was trained. I think she was trained in her memory.
Maybe
She
not
has no
Jack.
memory of it.
Even on Jakku, using that stick,
I
it's fine.
I don't like that it took Luke fucking 2 movies to be able to call his lightsaber to his hand, and fucking Rey does it in about 36 seconds.
Because
And
she
that-
was trained. I'm telling you, she was
Part of Luke's
trained.
little camp. All right, Bobby.
I'm ready.
Go for it.
All right. So I agree with Jay. I agree with most of what you guys have said. Like, I think that a lightsaber is a melee weapon. A stormtrooper would have been trained in fucking melee weaponry from the moment that they could fucking hold one. So
The shock trooper had a baton.
Exactly. So that explains that. That's done. With Kylo and his. All right. I agree that I don't think he's used it for shit. Secondly, I think that I don't think that Luke. I don't get the impression that Luke was training these motherfuckers to be warriors. Like,
Exactly.
I think he was training them to be monks. So, like, he literally has 0 combat training. And then the fucking that they go to the ends of the earth to make sure you understand is a powerful weapon throughout that whole movie. This is really nice. Look at that. Oh, it shoots this stormtrooper and knocks him 50 feet. He takes a fucking a hit in the gut from it, and then he goes out and fights. I think that Rey, the reason why Rey can use the Force to grab the lightsaber is because I think that Rey is a lot more powerful than we think. Also, we know that Rey can use a melee weapon too. She establishes that early on. She's probably been fighting a fair portion of her life in that environment. And I think that the reason why she was also... See, because I also think that they're brother and sister, right? And so I think that one has... so Kylo can use that interrogation technique. Like, he can get into people's minds. In the novelization of Force Awakens, it says that when Rey was going into his mind, she could actually see what he knew, like, in terms of using the Force. So, not that explains how she can just see it and use it, but it gives a little insight into the idea that not only that they may have some sort of bond that we don't understand, maybe it's cousins, maybe it's brother and sister, we don't know. But I definitely, that's another thing I want to say. Like, I definitely think that he knows who she is.
I agree.
Okay, but but that she was able to see, kind of like I don't know, cliff notes of what he knew. So and they're also trying to drive home this idea of destiny, right? That this
Destiny.
lightsaber wants to be with her.
Don't say the D word in front of Jay.
Sorry.
We'll lose him for
Nope.
12 hours.
He'll quit the show right now.
And he just killed his father. You know what I mean? Like, there's some emotional, psychological shit going on there. I think that when you see him kind of being calm, and then he throws Rey into the tree or whatever, and then he screams out to Finn traitor. I think it's because he's losing his shit. He's not in control.
Yeah.
But Snoke, we brought up Snooki. Snoke is another big mystery of this movie that we have.
So is he going to be really big, or is it just a?
Fuck no. Fuck
Did
no.
you
I
guys
really
see?
want him to be huge, just for the fun factor.
I want him to be 2 feet and sit on a little chair.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think he's Yoda size.
No,
I hope he's
Serkis-
9 feet tall.
Andy
Did you guys?
Andy Serkis said
Okay.
he's going to be between 7 and 9 feet tall, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
I have a theory on Snoke.
Go for it.
I think Snoke is, I'm gonna fucking butcher his name. I know, Darth
Plagueis.
Plagueis. Yeah.
Plagueis. Yeah.
I know they probably don't want to go into the fucking prequels or whatever, but when Palpatine is sitting down at the opera with Anakin and he's telling him that story about his master that could that could bring people back and also create life and all that stuff, but then Palpatine says that he killed him in his sleep and that's what I think that big scar is on his head. And I think that Plagueis wanted Palpatine to think that he had killed him, and he kind of just set off in the background, and he's watched all of these things kind of happen.
Laying in the cut.
Yes, laying in the cut, and now he is, reemerged to it's like this whole big plan of his is coming to fruition, and
I like this guy.
That's what I think Snoke is. I think he's played.
Okay, I don't think that Snoke is Plagueis, but I really want him to be Plagueis. So I'm going to tell you why he could be Plagueis, because I'm trying to convince myself.
Right.
Okay, so a couple questions, right? Like, okay, so the Emperor said that he killed him, but then he also said that Plagueis learned how to fucking bring people back to cheat death and all this shit. Like, that's a big part of it. So completely plausible. Snoke, Plagueis was a Sith Lord. This guy is not a Sith Lord. I got an explanation for that. If you were a Sith Lord and your fucking apprentice tried to murder you, thought he did murder you, and then you were able to sit back and watch other Sith Lords eat each other for fucking 60 years plus, you might say, maybe I should try a different avenue.
Right.
Let me lay back in this cut for a minute.
One more and then I'm done. Fucking Palpatine two more. There's the music cues that are the similar thing that John Williams did. The music that plays during the opera scene in Revenge of the Sith,
right?
Is also played in a way in when Snoke is on screen. And then one last thing, fucking Palpatine says wise 15 times when he's describing Plagueis.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the tale, Darth Plagueis the Wise? So
the wise, right?
It was wisey.
It was very Lord of the Rings.
Yes, and then in The Force Awakens, when Han goes out on the bridge to Ben, he says, Snoke is just using you for your power. You have to see that. And Ben's answer is,
he's wise.
The Supreme Leader is wise.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that seems to be the most common theory, and Bobby, you may have. Do you think you know who it is, or?
No, I think he's probably just a student at the school, but I think that's I don't think they're trying to avoid the prequels, and I think that this would be a nice tie back to the prequels. It would kind of make the prequels a bit more important.
Right.
So
the one.
What if?
Just real quick, the one thing that I've seen that any of you guys watch the Rebels show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
think about the Grand Inquisitor from season 1, and think about Snooki.
Right.
The way they look. I'll just leave that there.
I hear you. The only thing with that, the race of people that Grievous is hiding on their planet in Utapau,
The Banking Clan, yeah.
No, not the banking.
Not
clan.
no.
The guys are they're here, hundreds of battle droids.
Oh, the ones with the teeth.
Yeah, the guys with the really bad Asian accents. Yeah. Uh huh.
No, not them either. It's the people with pointy teeth and they have lines in their head.
So you're talking about when Obi-Wan comes to the planet and the guy leans in real close and says, "They're holding us.
Yes.
They're on the 10th floor.
Yes. And he's
Thousands of battle droids."
There's no war here unless you brought it with you.
Yes, it's which is a great line. One of the best lines from that movie.
I agree. That is the species that the Inquisitor is.
Okay, he just he went and saw Paul Wall and got that grill.
Well, no, the grills are identical.
His teeth don't extrude like that.
They're the same. They're pointy.
I gotta look this up.
Yep,
Okay.
they're pointy little fangs, and he has the lines in his head. That's the species that he is, and I don't feel like Snoke looks like that species. However, Snoke is super scarred, so it could have scarred through all that shit.
Here's also, and this is me kind of going on a tangent. This is probably not going to happen, but what if Snoke is a Force ghost and needs Ren because he can't physically do things because he is a Force? You know what I'm saying?
I actually like that. Not that I like it, but I find it believable because that would explain why Han says he's using you for your power, like a leech.
Right, he can't do anything because he's a Force ghost, and so he has to have somebody do things for him. You know what I'm saying? Which would be dope because I'm into seeing some Force Ghost lightsaber battles. Let's bring them all fucking back.
I mean, that's a perfect way to do a Ghostbusters tie-in.
Well, let me ask you this then. Let's say it
Thundercats
goes-
with fucking Jaga and remember that shit?
Let's say it goes that route, and he's trying to use Kylo's power to bring him back to life. Who's to say that's not why Han's back? Maybe Kylo has that power, and he brings Han back. That's a stretch. That's a fucking stretch for sure. But
Now, my buddy Adam thinks that my buddy Adam is sold that Snoke is Plagueis, but he thinks that if Snoke isn't Plagueis, he thinks another thing that could be possible because of the scar on Kylo's face after the lightsaber battle is that it could be Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren has found a way using the Force from the future to move through time.
Oh, we get into
I heard that, and
I don't
really
know.
hate the idea of
I
time
hate the
travel.
idea too because once you open the time travel Pandora's
Anything's
box,
possible.
there's no closing it.
That's,
You're
yeah.
done.
I like Ace's clone theory better than time travel.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
I
we
don't
gotta go
want
back
it to be the case, but once again, it's like all these speculative ideas. Like I can't deny it as a possibility.
I saw that thing today that showed the scars on Snoke look exactly like Vader's, and like it's Vader.
Yeah, I think exactly might be a bit of a stretch, but I hear you.
Right, but in the same general zones.
Yes.
I also saw the one where Snoke is little like Yoda on Ren's back.
I haven't seen that, but can you please send it to me?
Yes, I will. He's just like Yoda on Luke, but he's on Ren's back. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
So
Quado.
So I want to go back to the First Order real quick. Bobby, have you read the Thrawn series?
Yeah.
So it feels very much like that.
Well, see,
It's a
think-
segment of the government that was out on a mission, and now they're on their way back, and they want to take it back for the Empire.
See
You know what I mean?
that's kind of how the Empire has been in the whole EU. Like the Empire has been like its own. Like there's because like all right, here's the thing. Like, and this starts getting, you know what I mean, where we start really getting deep into this shit. But like, would you agree philosophically that democracy was a mistake for Iraq?
absolutely.
Okay, so by saying that, we have to come to terms with the idea that not everyone is ready for democracy. So we have to imagine that in a world where the Empire had been ruling for whatever 30 years, let's say, some of those civilizations kind of thrived under it. You know what I mean? So like in the EU, like there's systems of populaces that want to be ruled by an empire. They don't want to have the choice. They want to be told what to do. It's all they've ever known. And like that's why I think that they're really trying to tie this thing into Legends, which is another reason why I think that they're brother and sister, but more so that like it's for me it's an explanation of why Kylo is named Ben. Because I think that initially I thought that was a stupid idea because Leia didn't know Obi-Wan. Han really didn't know Obi-Wan. So why the fuck would they name their kid after him? And like in the books, Luke has a son named Ben. So like to me, it's like that explains that. It's like, oh well, have you ever heard the story about Solo's son Ben? Oh no, tell it to me. Oh dude, I just heard this story about Skywalker's son Ben. You got to hear it. Do you know what I mean? And that explains the Legends aspect of it. Like that's them tying it back to the EU, and that's them explaining the Legends thing. So I think that what you're saying about the Empire is dead on, and I think that's them kind of, or the First Order rather, that's them consciously making an effort to make this Legends thing work.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna sound really dumb, but does EU stand for Early Universe?
I'm sorry.
Expanded.
Expanded.
All right, cool. All right.
European Union, the entire thing set up off of the failing governments of Greece and Iceland.
All of the
Erectile underwhelmed.
because what is technically canon now is Star Wars 1 through 7, Clone Wars, and the animated series,
In
and
Rebels.
and that's in Battlefront, and then these,
and like 3 books.
yeah, and then like the novels that have been released since the Disney takeover,
And Marvel Comics.
and the comics that have been released since the Marvel takeover.
Yep.
Got it.
So all the Dark Horse shit is out. Every novel written before the fucking Takeover is out, and all of the video games except Battlefront are out, which is a huge bummer because Knights of the Old Republic is probably some of the best Star Wars shit ever written.
That shit was fun.
Oh no, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, all that
Yeah,
shit.
that was
Those
good.
were really fucking
Good
great
story.
games and story.
Story.
So Bobby, that means all your fan fiction's out.
All my fanfic, all my webcomics are gone.
So all those unicorns that showed up in Star Wars are not canon anymore.
Bit the
right?
dust.
So we've been going for about an hour here, a little bit longer. Let's go down the line here and just kind of give us a prediction of what you think's next for Star Wars in the numbered episodes. Obviously, we have Rogue. Is it Rogue One? Rogue Squadron?
Rogue One.
Rogue One coming out next year.
Which I'm pretty pumped because I heard Vader's going to be in that because it takes place prior to.
There was a trailer out. Is that real or fake? There's like a teaser out.
The one with the TIE fighter flying through the cavern?
And at the end, it shows the Emperor and Vader.
No, that one's fake.
Okay, I figured that.
But I did hear that Vader's going to be in Rogue Squadron.
I heard the same. There is one teaser trailer out there that's legit. At least I can't debunk it. But it shows a TIE fighter flying through a cavern, and you follow the TIE fighter as it moves through the cavern, and once it gets out of the cavern, it like opens up to this big landscape, and you can see within the atmosphere, like the Death Star within this planet's atmosphere, and then it cuts out.
And then also real quick, I'm interested in that. I know Pink. I'm Pinkerton. I'm sorry, bro, but in the flashback when you've got Kylo Ren with the Knights of Ren,
Yes.
if you freeze frame it, you got like 5 dudes there, and they all got like different weapons and shit.
Yeah, I think it's 6, but 6 or 7.
Or 6, yeah. And now have you seen that thing where they have very similar weapons to the cast of the Rogue Squadron guys?
I think I heard something about it, but I haven't seen it firsthand.
Right, like because Donnie Yen's got like a bow staff, and then one of the dudes is a bow. So like, I think does that mean that them dudes are gonna be the Knights of Ren? Because I guess
they gave Donnie a bow staff. That's imaginative. I think that I don't think that's the case, only because the one thing that they said about Rogue Squadron is that you will not see any Force power.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which would.
Well, how do you have Darth Vader in it?
You just have him walking by and saying something cool.
Okay.
Like he's in the Rebels show and doesn't do anything. He's just
I
kind
hope
of.
Porkins is in it. Porkins is my favorite. They named the fat guy Porkins.
But like, I think that the Knights of Ren are going to be new characters. I also think that if Rogue Squadron, like, they'd be really old by the time the Knights of Ren came around, and I don't know how I feel about that either.
So Bobby, what do you think? What's your prediction for what we're going to see in the next movie?
I think we're going to obviously see it's going to establish who Rey is. It's going to establish who Snoke is. I think that we'll see a romance between Poe and Rey. Because he's a hotshot pilot, and you tend to like guys like your dad. You know what I'm saying? And I think.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, and I think that I think there'll probably be a cliffhanger. I think that people will bitch that it's too much like Empire. Even if the only thing it has in common is the cliffhanger, but I think a cliffhanger in the second movie is kind of a necessity. I think that we'll see. And I hope that we'll see Luke do some fucking badass, I've been studying this shit on this mountain for 30 years Jedi shit.
So one thing on Luke. I'm sorry. What happened to his hand, Bobby? Why does he not have a human hand anymore?
It's just the flesh is off of the prosthetic.
Where does he keep it? Under a fucking rock?
He might have lost. Like, see, that's another question. We don't know what happened at the Jedi Massacre. Like, that's a big deal. Like that event is the defining factor of this trilogy.
Yes, that's going to be huge in the second one, I think.
Exactly. So like that scene in the flashback where he puts the metal hand on R2, like you can see like embers and shit floating by. Like I think that's him fucking burning the bodies, like a funeral. Like I think that event is going to be like expanded and kind of revealed. And I would imagine that the hand bit kind of works two ways. It's like him figuratively letting go of the past, and also a reminder that he's always one step away from being Darth Vader if he makes the wrong choices, and all that kind of shit.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? Good point.
All right. Just what are your predictions?
I think the same thing. I think you're going to find out who Rey is. I actually think that they're going to do it in a way where once in the second movie, right when you see it, it'll be like when you saw Luke and Yoda. So he's already been training her for some time, and she's going to be kind of skilled with the Force. I don't think they're just going to pick up right from there.
I hate to cut you off. That's a good question. I think we all should answer too while we do this. How much time do you think is going to pass between 7 and 8?
At least a year.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking 1 year.
I think it's going to be real time, so it'll be 2 years.
Okay, that's cool.
That's possible, and that's what I think. I think she's going to be badass. I think you're going to see Kylo's going to come back more badass. At that point, he would have had training too. And that's what I think.
To finish his training.
You're going to find out. You're going to find out what happened to Luke. You're going to find out who Rey is, and then find out what the ultimate goal is of Snoke and Kylo. I mean, or it'll be start to put that in clearer motion.
And I have one more question I'd like everybody to answer. I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
You're fine. Don't worry.
Who do you think dropped Rey off?
The stork.
Vader.
I think somebody put her there not to be found.
Or left her there to die.
But not why. But who? Who? Because that's important. Because, like, to me, Luke going to hide on some fucking island doesn't make sense to go hide his daughter some fucking where else.
Well, because at that point, people aren't hunting Force sensitive. You know, they're not killing.
But they're hunting for him. If they're hunting for Luke, though, wouldn't it make sense? Like, look, I can't have her with me just in case they find me.
So are we saying that? Are we saying Battle of Endor the next day? Oh, here's the First Order. That look, all the stormtroopers got new helmets. Let's go. I mean,
and no necks.
Right. I mean, was there had to be a passage of time between, oh, you blew up the Death Star, oh, let's start this new club over here. You guys want to come join our clique on Instagram? You know,
No, I mean, of course, that's real time. But I'm just saying, like I think that question of who do you think, like, I think that shit's important.
This is honestly just to talk about this show. Like, I feel like we've gone an hour, and I feel like we haven't even fucking scratched the surface of the movie.
I'm right there with you. I'm
almost like shit. Like, we should probably do a part 2 to this.
I haven't even gotten into when Finn takes his armor off, and all of a sudden he's in fucking cargo pants. And
yes.
Like,
that's a standard issue cargo pants.
I mean, do we want to do that? Do we want to? I don't know. I mean, I know it's tough to get everybody together and stuff like that, but do we want to have a part 2 for this?
I think we could definitely do a part 2. I think this could we could probably do a weekly show of this if we wanted.
I'm not doing a part 2 unless I get more anger from Dust.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah, it's late night, man.
You gotta do it on a non-work day.
Yeah, like Bobby, I've been up early since about 5 o'clock this morning, so this is like downtime for me. This is like figure banging Eddie right now.
All right, so back on track here. J. Ruse, what are your predictions for the next movie?
I think I'm gonna agree with everybody else. You're gonna find out who Rey is. You're gonna find out Luke's story. I also have a feeling that you're gonna find out there are more people that are Force sensitive than that's let on in this first movie. For some reason, I feel like Poe is gonna be Force sensitive. I think Finn is going to be Force sensitive.
Sorry.
And you know, Finn, I mean, how else would he break mind control like that? You know what I mean?
And let's just make everybody a fucking Jedi. You know, honestly, you know, because
there he is.
No. And there's going to be a balance to the Force, you know. He's like all these Force sensitives to run a school, right? So I think there's going to be more Force sensitives.
So is it kind of like in The Flash, how everybody knows that Barry's the Flash? It's like everybody's a Jedi. You get to be a Jedi. You get to be a Jedi.
It's like the failsafe. JJ's failsafe was the Force. Yeah. That explained everything. The Falcon was there. It's the Force.
That's not how the Force
works. It's in the Force.
I think there's going to be another reason why the Falcon is there.
Yeah. It was the Force, Bob. The Force.
So, Ace.
I more or less agree with everybody else, except I don't think there's going to be everybody's going to be Force sensitive. The only other difference I think is I think at the end they're going to tease I think it's going to end with the stormtroopers being having the Force from the clones.
You're sticking to that clone route.
I'm sticking to it. I want it to be real. I'm probably completely wrong, but you know what? I gotta stick with it.
You
All
think
right.
they could tell that
Divorce, I'm
story
sticking with it.
in 2 movies?
What?
Or do you think they could cover that in 2 movies?
Look how much shit they covered in this movie.
Absolutely not.
So Nate, what's your thoughts?
Same thing. We're gonna find out who the fuck Rey is. We're gonna find out who the fuck Snoke is. All that kind of shit. But I do think we're gonna find out how Kylo Ren got Vader's mask off of Endor.
Yeah.
And I think it's because
And his ashes.
I think he went in there and fucking murdered a bunch of Ewoks.
Well,
And-
I'm sorry. Back about the ash thing. Why would he have the ashes inside a torture room?
That wasn't his torture room. That was his little quarters.
That was his little man
Oh,
cave.
that wasn't a torture room.
No, that's why he stuck it. When he
That
took
was
his helmet off, that's what he stuck it on.
That was his Jack Shack.
I don't think
That's the gentleman's relish depository.
I don't think that helmet was left on Endor. I think Luke probably took it with him.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't think
why
he took his
would
father's
he
skull.
burn it? If he's gonna take it with him, yeah, why would he have burned
This
it?
is his dad's helmet.
Maybe
But
he
it's
had a
also his
second,
skull.
maybe he
He
had a
was
second
like,
thought.
he was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I should have kept that.
Let me take this with me.
He's gonna leave garbage laying around in Endor. He's just fucking burn people. And just
I mean,
leave
you have
it
to
sit
think
there?
even if it's burned, I mean, that's gonna be that would be like a hot item. I mean, that's gonna rank up there with Luke's.
I got Vader
think-
ashes. Who wants Vader
I-
ashes?
Kylo bought it off eBay.
I think Bosk went
Han-
down and got it and then sold it on the black market.
Han smuggled it out.
I think Jar Jar
I
picked him
wanna
up and sold it to him.
No,
So
I think
that's
I
what
think Luke had it.
I would like to see some huts, some sort of huts
Like a
somehow.
planet of huts.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to fucking see one. That's all. And then I'm all in on Kylo Ren. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if people think he's a weirdo, crybaby, and
John
emo. I am 100% on Kylo Ren. I thought that actor was fantastic.
I agree.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I am too.
I thought
liked-
he stole the entire movie. He was the best actor, hands down. And I think him, killing his dad and stuff was definitely integral to where his character is going to go. And I'm into it.
I'm with you.
I'm into it.
All right, I'm gonna let Dust go last. So the couple things that I think most of what you're saying is dead on the money. A couple things that I've thought of is Finn got pretty fucked up. I mean, he got sliced right down the middle of his back with a lightsaber.
And he got his shoulder burnt up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he comes back with some robot parts or something that makes him just a complete badass. I think we're going to get some Lando because he's the only really major living character that's still alive rather from the movie. They use Akbar, and I think there's going to be a food shortage, and they're all going to find out that Akbar is delicious. with some drawn butter.
Is Finn Lando's kid? Are they gonna wrap that up?
No, he's gonna be. It's gonna be Mace Windu's kid.
Too many
Colt
45s one night, and
That's right.
Smoothest drink in the galaxy.
Too many Coke 45s and a Twilight Dancer, and
Snice Noodles was looking pretty damn good.
that's right. But yeah, you guys are dead on the money on everything that you said. The one thing I'm not sure of is there will be a cliffhanger at the end, and I'm not sure which direction the cliffhanger will be. I think it will be very entertaining. Dust.
Well, they're definitely going to give us a little bit, but not what we want out of the next one. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to give us all that we want, all that information in the next one, because they just want to just reel us into the third, to the last one. So, yeah, it was great. Listen to we all kind of are on the similar pages, except for someone and his crazy talk about.
I mean, Dusty can't go anywhere but up for you, bro. You gave it a
Yeah.
fucking 5.
No, you know what? It's not a bad 5. I mean, I've watched it a couple of times more, but I'm going back to my first experience. How I was so giddy to be in the theater, be next to my brother, watching this, what we grew up on, what we've seen growing as kids, and then you sit there and you're just like, you could just hear between, ugh.
But can it ever be that?
No, and I understand that you can't go back to that, and it probably won't be like that, and that's why I kind of stayed away from the trailers and the hype, and I went into this movie not expecting anything.
You know, Dust, there's two things I've learned in life. Never meet your heroes, and never try to relive your memories. Because
Sure.
you'll always be disappointed in both
Yeah.
those cases.
But there was nothing that, and I feel that there was too much thrown at us from the old stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it was just too much. It was too. I mean, it's great, and I enjoyed that a little bit.
Can I? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, bro.
But I do say that, like, that is a complaint of mine. Like, there is a difference between doing Star Wars and growing Star Wars, and I feel like this film did an awful lot of doing Star Wars and not a lot of growing Star Wars.
Well, you know, the cool thing about this, whether it's a 5, whether it's an, I think 8.5 was the highest we gave it. I need to write these down and average them. I'll do that later. But you got to think. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and I will probably have Star Wars movies for the rest of my fucking life, and that's exciting to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely is.
If they did nothing else, at least they're gonna give us more Star Wars.
You know what the best thing was when I was at work one day and I'm in retail, and somebody was saying, "Mommy, look, Star Wars." It was cookies, and this is a young kid. You know what I mean? And it was like R2D2, and just just to see
Chips.
how he was all
it's just
excited about it. It was just really made me think. Okay, there's the next generation. This is why they're doing this.
I mean, I went in a bathroom in a shithole gas station the other day, and they had Star Wars condom vending machine.
Oh Jesus! I knew it was going there, and he still went there.
They've penetrated deep. So, I mean, I'm so excited that I'll have Star Wars for the rest of my life.
I'm really hoping that the second one redempts this, and I could go back and look at this one and say, okay, now I know why they were doing this.
So do
I
you
really
guys,
feel like they had to make this movie to transition.
so do you guys think
That's
that
what I was saying earlier.
we'll get over the next 5 years? We get the finish of the third trilogy. We get 3
Rogue One.
standalone. We get that movie. We get
There's one every year.
the Han Solo, and then supposedly after that we get the Boba Fett. So I'll ask Bobby this because I don't think I've heard you talk about this on any of your social media platforms. Do you think we get another Skywalker lineage trilogy?
Yeah, I think the saga movies will continue, but I think there'll be a larger gap. They just announced today that there might be in talks of a fucking Obi-Wan trilogy that takes place between 3 and 4 that Ewan McGregor's down for.
Dude, I would be all about that. I'm gonna be
all
Obi-Wan
over that shit. Like, I am signed on.
Obi-Wan is my jam. That's my dude.
I'd much rather see an Obi-Wan standalone movie than a Boba Fett standalone movie.
Yes, I would. In a trilogy, I mean, I don't know if you guys are all readers, but that book Kenobi is fucking awesome. If you have a chance to read, and I know it's not canon. It literally missed being canon by like 3 months or something.
But it doesn't matter. Most of the shit that's not quote unquote canon is fucking awesome.
No, yeah, but check it out. I mean, it's on Kindle and all that shit too. I've actually got the hardback of it. It's a great read. It's a fun read. It tells an awesome story, of his internal struggle trying to decide, I can't let anybody know what I am, and I've got to fix this problem, but I can't be a Jedi, and it's just really cool. There's a lot of stuff there, and I love the Tatooine stuff. I really do. Always have.
Did it take place after the Vader book? Because there was a Vader book that took place after Episode 3. I forgot what the name of the book is.
I think it's called Dark Lord or something.
Yeah. Right at the end of that book, Kenobi is watching the news on Tatooine and sees that Vader's still alive. Or whatever his name is.
Watching the news?
Yeah, it's like the news. It's like Empire News or something ridiculous.
I don't know.
Did it have the
HoloNet. It's called the HoloNet.
Was it the two-headed pod racer announcer that was
Greg.
So that book ended really good, and it was all about Vader, and when Kenobi was there, I thought it was pretty dope. And if they continued that story in the Kenobi book, that would have been dope.
I don't think they do. I don't remember that at all. I haven't read the Vader book, but
Obi-Wan is a tragic character. Like,
he is.
He is the most tragic character of the Star Wars saga. Like, the dude saw his master killed in front of him. He took on an apprentice that he didn't want to fulfill his master's wishes, only to make the biggest failure ever in fucking Jedi history, to go sit on a fucking desert planet to watch the Chosen One's son, like the son of his best friend that betrayed him, grow up and keep safe just to sacrifice himself for his best friend who betrays him. Like that character is fucking rich as fuck. Like, there's so much they can do with it, and I mean, it's a fucking, like, It's a fucking beautiful time to be alive, Mac.
It is. It is. Definitely is. Guys, I think we're going to wrap up on that. Let's run down the line and just let everybody know where you're at. Bobby, where can people not find you on the internet?
But if you want, like, just check out Nerd Rage Radio and Shadowcast Uncut and Skullface on YouTube and hashtag Team Solo.
Jisk.
Just Jaybatrons. I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. Jaybatron on Instagram and Facebook. And you can catch me Monday nights on ETR, Into the Realm. Like you didn't know.
J. Ruse.
At JRuse on Instagram, and you can also Cadaver_11 on the PS4 network, playing Destiny almost all the time.
He's just looking for somebody to dance with.
That's right.
That's all.
That's why his connection was dipping out on us.
Yeah, my PlayStation was on. It was fucking, I forgot to turn it off. All right.
Ace.
Ace Milo everywhere, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, Facebook. Check out RealmCollectors.com. Realm Collectors YouTube channel for Figure Banging, which is my other show. About it.
All right, Nate.
On Instagram, it's Haskill_Thundercracker_Zartan.
You know you can change that, right?
Yeah, I know, but you know what? I almost can't now. It's so long and ridiculous that I
You have to run with it.
I refuse to change it. Cobra Law Records, we do nerd rap, all that kind of stuff. If you like Star Wars, check out our newest joint from the Four Horsemen, which is myself, Dust Mites, Midichlorian, and Otis Roycroft.
Hey, is
Really, really good editing on that, by the way.
Is it still up?
Bometheus. Yeah, Bometheus is the newest member of our camp who does all our video editing. The dude is extremely talented. The song's called Battlefront. You can find it on YouTube. I'm on Bandcamp, SoundCloud. Nathan Haskill, Haskill.
Dust.
At Dust Mites on Instagram and right here. Catch me in the Realm Collectors Facebook group and all over the Facebook groups and all over the place.
Don't act like you don't produce my music.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cobra Law Records. I thought you took care of that, brother.
All right.
Definitely go check out that video. It's pretty dope.
It is a dope video. I'm Pinkerton on Instagram, Chris Pinkerton on Facebook. Don't forget to check us out on ETR, Enter the Realm Monday nights, right here on this channel that you're watching it, or on iTunes. Also, Figure Banging every other Wednesday with Ace Milo and a slew of guest stars. Thanks again to our special guest tonight, Bobby Skullface.
No, thanks for having me on. I really did not want to miss this.
And Nathan Haskill.
Yeah, same thing. I when Dust told me you guys were gonna do this, I begged to be on, and I'm glad that I got to be on, and I'm also glad I got to be on with Bobby Skullface, who is a legend in this community.
Oh, stop it! The pleasure's all mine.
Hey, let's think part 2. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah, I think we're definitely going to have to do this again, but we're going to wrap it up for now. Thanks, everybody, for watching. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were listening to us. Peace.
Peace.